Hi there, and welcome to, I believe, the 12th official installment of the Sage Running Podcast. This is going to be a kind of a vlog recap on my last race, the Hong Kong 100K, which I just got back from Hong Kong yesterday. I'm drinking a Raja Avery IPA, double IPA, Avery Brewing, Boulder, Colorado. I like to think it's like the little brother of the Maharaja, which is one of my favorite IPAs ever in the world. Avery Brewing, Boulder, Colorado, big sponsor plug. But yeah, I think this is the 12th official installment, like I said, of the podcast. And thanks to all the Patreon supporters for really making this possible. Thanks to all the listeners and all the viewers on YouTube as well. It's really just been a dream come true, and I say that every time, but I don't take any of this for granted. So it's through the support of all you guys that makes this all possible. So really thank you. So yeah, quick rundown of the Hong Kong 100K. It was a tough race. It was pretty brutal. I think I had about 16,000 feet of climbing on Strava. The course was in the rolling hills right outside of Hong Kong. You can see all the skyscrapers and buildings right beneath the stairs there. I'll throw up some pictures here later on the YouTube video if you're watching the video version of this podcast. And yeah, it was a really competitive race as well. It was kicking off this Ultra Trail World Tour Series of 2017, which I'm also competing in. But a lot of international elites, Dedrick, who got second at Western States this past summer, Tim Tollefson, who was third at UTMB, Seth Swanson, who's also been second at Western States and fourth at UTMB. That's just a few of the guys, Americans, Norway. Yang Kuo, I believe is his name. I just mispronounced it probably. Who won the race from China, great runner. He's won the race before, repeat champion, pulled away. As well as Danny, who was in second, who ended up second place. Danny Hyung, or it's Jung. Sorry, I'm horrible with names. I'm mispronouncing names all the time here. This is really bad. Which surprised me because I knew some of the other guys, but I didn't know anyone could take it. But it was a competitive battle kind of all the way, and third place for me, I'm happy with it. Podium's always good in such a competitive race. At the same time, I want to try to win. I was in a position, we were all in position, I think, to win, at least in the first 50K, and even the top three of us were all together at about 70K. But then the winner pulled away for a convincing win. And there's a guy I'd raced before at Tarawera, but he brought it on Saturday. And the stairs, the hard part of the course for me was the stairs and the relative humidity. And I know running in Hong Kong, everyone says it's the peak season, it's the comfortable time of year to run, and it wasn't hot by any means. It was perfect temperature, really great weather conditions for running, but it was a little bit more humid than Colorado. And I think Tim Tollefson said the same thing, coming from an alpine mountain environment where it's pretty dry in the winter. To sweating bullets the first 50K, running pretty fast on the more less climbing in the first 50K. I got a little bit dehydrated. I had some mishaps with my bottle. I lost a bottle cap and everything spilled out, and I had one bottle for a while, and then I probably didn't drink enough electrolyte fluid, just a common mistake, and then my stomach kind of turned because of that, I think. And so I was puking. I puked mainly after the race, but I had some stomach issues later on. And I think it was mainly dehydration. I didn't have to urinate for about 8 hours during the race, which I think is actually a pretty long time. Usually it is for me. And I felt dehydrated. I actually felt thirsty during the race, and I'd run out of fluid before the next aid station. But the aid station support was amazing. The volunteer ratio to runner ratio was like, I don't know, more than 1 to 1, or not 1 to 1. It was like 2 runners for every 1 volunteer basically, and it was a big race, 1,800 runners I believe. just a great event, the Hong Kong running community. I got to interact with a lot of people in the Hong Kong running community leading up into the race with events, as well as the press conference before the race and after the race, and hang out, and just a bunch of really passionate people that live a big city life but also can escape right 20 minutes outside of all the skyscrapers and the apartment complexes. You have these beautiful mountain trails that go up to 3,000 feet, over 1,000 meters of elevation gain, and you're starting down at the beach. And even during the race, we were running the first 50K, we were running along through the sand on a lot of really nice beaches before climbing into the hills more in the second half. And there were wild monkeys on the course in the area. I probably saw over 100 during the race, as well as water buffalo, and I heard there were snakes, but they weren't out. Thank goodness. I did not want to see a viper snake, or not a viper, a cobra. Maybe they have vipers too, but I was told they were cobras, which kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies. But yeah, I mean, the way the race played out, the first 50K, there was a huge group of us, like 15 or 20 guys, probably all together, and then actually it was 40K. Right about 40K, Tim Tolson kind of made a move, and we kind of splintered a little into the top 5 or 6, but we were spread out more over like a minute, and there were some gaps. And I didn't feel real great coming out of the 50K aid station before this big runnable climb, which I wanted to make a move on. Yeah, it was there that the race was really decided, because the eventual winner made his move there. I tried to go with him. The guy who got second ended up going with us as well, and we broke away from Tollefson and Dedrick at that point, and then we just kind of finished in that order, but kind of spread out with the top 3, but then very close. If you look at the finisher density of the top 10, it's actually a pretty close race. And going into it, I knew it was going to be a big challenge for me. It was really hard. I do not like stairs by any means, and a lot of the really steep climbs, a lot of the big climbs. There's this climb at mile 40 that was like going up the incline in Colorado Springs, kind of. Maybe it was about half the incline, but it was like a mile of like straight up stairs and like super steep. And I saw these like recreational hikers that were just hiking around taking pictures, and I was like, man, these hikers are gonna pass me on this hill, because I was going so slow and felt so bad. But yeah, really steep stairs that made you have to power hike, and I do not like power hiking upstairs. I tried to practice it, but there were probably over 1,000 stairs on the course, if not 2,000. Maybe it's hard to estimate it. There were at least 1,000 stairs, I would say, up and down, which was a big challenge. It was a big challenge for my legs and coordination, and that definitely made it hard. 16,000 feet of climbing over, I think I clocked about 59 miles on the course. It was a little shy of 100K. It doesn't matter really, GPS error anyway. But yeah, it was a great event, and that it wasn't freezing cold this year. It wasn't hot like it could have been. So pretty ideal running temperatures. None of us got the course record by Francois Dane, but it would have been nice to run closer to 9:30 and be in the mix to try to win it, but can't complain. I did my best out there. It hurt a lot and I suffered, and 10 hours, just over 10 hours of racing, I think is good prep for UTMB, good prep for more of these longer, gnarly 100Ks where I'm less consistent and I'm still learning a lot. So learning a lot with the hydration, learning a lot with fueling still and trying not to get nauseous, learning a lot about trying to build up specific leg strength for these long races, because VO2 max is not a problem, powering up hills is not a problem. It's the sheer muscle fatigue and muscle failure and that dull muscle ache that gets me usually as a limiting factor in these 100K events and beyond, especially with a lot of vertical gain. You can't have your quads blow out, you can't have your legs blow out so bad that you can't climb very fast or efficiently, or run efficiently on the flats even. And this course was a great mix of everything. You had to run on the road, you had some flatter sections, you had some buttery smooth single track, you had some pretty technical sections, a lot of technical sections I would say, with some rocks, and then all the sections with a lot of stairs. So it took an all-around runner, and it wasn't, it was a lot of climbing. It was one of my slower 100K times that I've ever recorded. I think someone had asked me if I'd ever run 100K before. I'm like, yeah, I ran the Tarawera Ultra Marathon a couple of times in New Zealand, and I've run Bandera and Yurok a couple of times. Maybe another 100K in there, I forget. Not, I guess not a ton, but yeah, it was a solid race for me and a step in the right direction. So I was happy with that. Coming off of North Face just last month, it was kind of up in the air whether or not I was going to be able to run very well. And North Face was a tough pill to swallow. It was a tough race for me. Actually, all last year, 2016 was a tough year for me, kind of. So I was real conservative in my training going into this. Over the holidays, I didn't train a ton. With the snow, it was harder to train, but I tried to spend more time on my feet and do some elevation. But it was all basically the last 4 weeks heading into Hong Kong was all base training. I didn't do any hard workouts. I did one long run, I think, 4 or 5 hour type of long run, maybe 2 long runs, but only one was over like 4 hours, which is a long time for me. But I need to work on that more, I think, in the future, and more focusing on the longer distance ultras. Like my main goal this summer will be UTMB. I finally have the points, and I was able to enter the Ultra Trail du Mont Blanc. So going back to Chamonix in the summer. I'm also probably going to do the Mont Blanc Marathon in June as well. Net uphill is better for me than net downhill always. So really looking forward to that. Just trying to get the legs strong though. And as I consult with Coach Sandy. She's again, I would have her on this podcast. I know Sandy really has a lot to add, as she's the best co-host, podcast co-coach that could ask for. So really appreciate Sandy's feedback. And so I ask her, what should I do? How should I do this? And we consult with each other a bit, but it's good to learn from her and to take her advice and not take my own advice sometimes, because when you coach yourself, you get too biased and you mess up. And I'll admit to that. I mess up. We mess up with our athletes sometimes too, because nothing's 100%. But at the same time, we've also had a lot of success, a lot of sub 3 hour marathoners and BQs, and ultra finishes, ultra PRs. But it's a fickle sport. It's a fickle sport with a lot of variables. And when you're racing longer races, there are a lot more variables, and sometimes it comes down to individual differences with your physiology. It comes down to your diet. It comes down to your lifestyle, your sleep stress, work stress, family obligation time, training time, pushing the limit where you're not overtraining but you're not too epically undertrained for the effort that you want to manage over a rolling course with a lot of climbing, and that could be or could not be in adverse weather conditions. So yeah, I think for UTMB and future ultras in general, even a runnable course like Lake Sonoma or the North Face 50 mile San Francisco, I need to bring my A game more. I need to be 100% dialed, because these races are getting more competitive. You can't just jump around all the time and expect to podium or try to win with such competitive fields if you're not bringing your A game to every race. So for me, it's always been the leg strength thing, and looking at training on Strava, looking at training of other ultra runners, top ultra runners on Strava, and just learning over the last 5 years of being in the sport, I kind of need to up my game this year if I want to do better. And I always do want to try to do better and be in contention for the win, and mostly get the most out of myself, and to finish races knowing that I ran closer to what I thought my potential is, whatever that may be. So it's a matter of leg strength and doing the time, doing all the extra work, doing the core exercises that Sandy posts on her channel. Check it out. Running Wild to Believe, Sandy's YouTube channel. We also have running form tips and nutrition talks on there kind of too. I'll probably get into more of that in the future, but yeah, doing those hip exercises, hip mobility, core strength, always key for running form and not breaking down, not getting injured, but also just, for me, it's a matter of going out in the mountains, putting in the big weeks, the big vertical, because let's face it, I don't want to say I'm lazy, because I care. I really care about this sport. It's just sometimes you get distracted by other things going on in your life, and like, for example, when you own your own business, there's always more work to do. It's like you never want to rest. You always want to be working, because you're your own boss, but you also are always trying to look at new ways to grow and to innovate and things like that. And I've been very fortunate to have the support of all you guys, and to have the support of the running community, and just so many things that have gone my way that have allowed for this really luxurious lifestyle and these opportunities to run at a high level. So if I don't take advantage of the time and the resources that I have to train now, probably in the the peak of my running career, hopefully, I'm gonna regret it forever. So it's time to really push the envelope. I don't want to overtrain. I don't want to get hurt, but the risk is always there. The risk of tripping and falling and breaking my leg is there every day. You're one step away from a career-ending injury, so it's a tough sport. Get in a car accident and get really hurt or die or something like that. I mean, you can't take anything for granted, and I don't. Every single day I wake up, it's a dream come true, really is. And so I want to train more, and it's not necessarily more mileage, but spending more time on my feet, doing more vertical in the mountains, doing more longer runs. Because, the top guys, you want to put in 120, 130, 140 miles a week. I really think the difference of doing that versus running 90 to 100 mile weeks, which have been more my peak, is not cutting it anymore. And, I've run 150 miles a week in college. When I was 20 years old, I was running 150 miles a week once. Training for an 8K to 10K cross country. So I've put in the mileage before. At Hanson's, I put in 140 mile weeks several times. I put in 7 weeks in a row over 130 miles a week. So I've done the mileage, but doing the mileage on trails takes more time. Doing the mileage with a lot of elevation gain takes more time. And I have no excuse. I'm a pro mountain ultra trail runner. I need to put in the big weeks, and 15 hours a week, 14 hours a week of training is not cutting it. I think 18 hours a week to 20 hours a week is kind of what it's going to take, at least for someone of my talent level, to compete again at the top. And that might include doing some extra core work, strength work, but mainly just the time on feet, the elevation, building up the leg strength and the muscle strength, because you really do feel that difference when you're in the second half of an ultra race and you need to move on a downhill and just roll, and you can't have your quads fail on you. And that's what I feel has always been a limiting factor for me, as well as dialing that nutrition, not getting dehydrated, not getting stomach distress, not throwing up, is going to be really, really key. And so that's what I want to focus on moving forward into the future. Consulting with my partner Sandy as a coach. She's really the mastermind behind the operations at Sage Running as well. And just really fortunate to have her be a positive influence and part of my life. So thank you, Sandy. But it's going to be hopefully a good year. I got my foot forward on running, placing in the top 3 at Hong Kong, which I'm pretty happy with. But again, I'm a super competitive person, and I'm gonna always be kind of critical and hard on myself. And I'm like, well, why couldn't you have won? Why couldn't you have gotten second place, or just why didn't you run a faster time? And then I'm like, well, your training wasn't totally dialed, and I don't want to make excuses, because I ran a good race. I ran hard. I got everything out of myself that I could on the day, and you can't really have any regrets if you do that. So, but it's a learning experience. It's always a learning experience, and they say you learn the most from bad races, and you should also learn from good races as well, and learn from past training cycles. And so I consult my training log, which is all on Strava, by the way. You could also, I'll plug social media stuff here real quick too. I'm also on the Twitter and the Instagram at Sage Canaday. If you're not into that, I'm a social media addict, so sorry. Definitely. I'm gonna do more YouTube videos. Definitely concentrate more on the training time this year. Hopefully, slog out some more vertical, mix up the different races, can't even talk right. Different races, any surface, any distance. That's my hashtag. I like to try to do that. Although I will admit, no road marathons this year, no road ultras this year. I was going to do comrades, but with the focus being on UTMB, I am 100% vested in the long distance ultras on trails and mostly mountain racing, although I will probably do some more rolling trails as well. Definitely going to do North Face 50, for example, in December. But I just want to get into full-on ultra mode. It's too hard for me to mix up short distance road marathon running at a really high level with a really high level of competing in like UTMB 100, for example, because I think the difference is too vast, at least for me. And I want to get back into road marathons next year when the trials window opens, or it opens at the end of this year, I think. Because I'd really like to qualify for my third Olympic trials if I can again for 2020. But I do want to go fully vested into UTMB this summer, and that will be the big focus of my year, is to try to do well at UTMB. First, it's always just to finish the course, because I didn't get to do that last time because of my knee injury. But yeah, finish UTMV, finish strong, and hopefully be in contention for the win and a good time, weather permitting. So that's the next really big focus. I'll have a bunch of races in between. Still deciding exactly how I'm going to attack my training, but I'll keep you guys posted. More vlog videos, probably a series video coming up, as well as more tips and podcasts with Sandy, podcasts with other runners as well that are really inspiring. And yeah, I think that'll sum up this vlog, kind of a shorter podcast, shorter race recap. Again, thanks to the organization at UTMB, or organization at the Hong Kong 100K. Great event, great running community in Hong Kong. It's a really fast growing running community. The trails are awesome. If you ever go visit there, you could go right outside of town, run up in the hills, beautiful views of the city, and just a real, it's a really big city for me. I grew up in a town with 5,000 people, so seeing all the skyscrapers there was amazing, as well as meeting a ton of really cool people, trying new food, and running on new trails and exploring. But again, really competitive race. Hats off to all the finishers, and thanks to all the volunteers and the race director and Ultra Trail World Tour and all the sponsors that made this possible, as well as all the views of you guys. I got a lot of positive feedback, and thank you. Thanks for following along on social media and on these videos. It really means a lot to me, and it's really cool to interact with people all around the world through this medium. People are like, yeah, Sage, you're kind of a crazy plugger on social media, and yeah, I admit, it's part of my personality. I've loved videos since I was a little kid. I've loved social media marketing. It's a fun way to interact on a global scale, and it's technology's made that possible. Creative media has been exciting for me, so I'm a total social media addict. It's probably not good sometimes, but I get a kick out of it. It's just an offshoot of my personality, basically. So that's kind of why I also do all these videos and podcasts and self-promotion, people say, but I have to, sponsors support me, you guys support me. I can't thank you enough. So really, thanks for tuning in, and definitely stay tuned for more Sage Running podcasts.